Chef Geoff here. Welcome to my kitchen. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the old subscribe button. If you like what you're seeing, give me a big thumbs up. Today's recipe is going to be posted on chefgeoff.ca. So okay, if you want to think like a chef, it's important for you to remember and to know that you can build really healthy, delicious, protein-packed foods without any meat at all. So with that in mind, we're going to be building a protein-packed quinoa bowl. We're going to finish it off with some house-made green goddess dressing. We're going to do a whole whack of meal prep to set you up for the course of the week. You guys are going to love it, so let's get started. Oh wait, before we get started, I got some leftover corn from my elote, so we're going to throw this baby on the grill first off. It takes about 15-20 minutes. So I'm going to chuck this on the grill, then we'll get started. All right guys, so we're going to build the protein side of things first. So I've got a tricolor quinoa mixture here. I've got some vegetable broth, and what we're going to do is this is five cups of vegetable broth and 3 cups of equal parts barley, quinoa, and red organic quinoa. There's a star anise and a bay leaf. That's the word I'm looking for. And it's just really important when you're working with quinoa. It can really be a good canvas for flavor. So if you have the opportunity to use a flavorful broth when you're cooking it, that's the way to go. We're going to add just a touch of salt. And the best way to cook quinoa is we're going to keep it covered like this, and we're going to have it on about medium to high heat. When it comes to a boil, we're going to simmer it way down, and we're going to simmer it for 18 minutes. It'll absorb all the liquid the same way rice does, and then you're done. The other component here for for the protein side of things for this quinoa bowl is we have some boiled eggs. And if you'll remember from my dirty hands, from my Hail Caesar deviled eggs, a perfect boiled egg, you have it in cold water, you bring it up to a boil, you simmer it for 10 minutes, shock it in an ice bath, and you've got a perfect boiled egg. Also, shout out to Easy Peasy Delicacy. You were using this technique in one of your recipes, and I just want to say, thanks very much for recognizing and for using some techniques that we showed you. So, 18 minutes here, 10 minutes here. We're going to go make some green goddess dressing. We'll see you back in a moment. All right, so we got quinoa on the stove. We got some eggs boiling. I've got some corn going on the grill. So let's build the green goddess dressing. And green goddess was basically developed in San Francisco in the 1920s. And there's some key things that it's kind of been adapted over the years, but there's some things that you have to have. First one is tarragon. You got to have some anchovies and some sour cream, but everything else is kind of use what you have on hand. It's a really herbaceous kind of dressing. So I've got half a stalk of tarragon, a third of a stalk of parsley, and half a stalk of basil. Oh, and it just smells amazing once you cut into it. And you're gonna get that really nice kind of licorice flavor from the tarragon. So we're going to put in half a cup of mayonnaise. And then a cup of sour cream. In you go. And we got 4, maybe 5 anchovies. Get in there. And just a little bit of chopped garlic. About a tablespoon, about 2 cloves or so. And this is optional. Some people like to use fresh avocado. I like using this is literally store-bought guacamole, and that's 1 cup. There you go. And then we're gonna put in some hot Dijon mustard, and this is 1 teaspoon. The juice of 1 whole lemon, so that's 1 there, a little bit more here, and then some scallions. And we're just going to blend this thing up, and we'll have ourselves a really tasty, herbaceous, really rich dressing that will go nicely with our quinoa bowl. Theoretically, this should be green when I'm all said and done here. All right, always taste it when you're ready. Once you think you're done, done. Oh, really herbaceous. It's got a lot of acidity from that lemon juice and just a little bit of richness from the anchovies. This is gonna go perfect with our quinoa bowl. All right, so we have our quinoa cooling. So in the meantime, while that's cooling down, we're just gonna cut up some of the vegetables. We have our corn ready to go here as well. So when you're making these kind of bowls, these Buddha bowls or whatever it is you wanna call them, just kind of use whatever you have hanging around. And I happen to have some carrots, some red cabbage, some pickled vegetables, some tomatoes, and the corn that I was using before. And we'll use this to garnish our plate as we go. So we're just gonna cut really thin batons of our carrots and almost make like a coleslaw cut. There we go. Alright, so I got a few heirloom tomatoes, and we're just going to kind of use my trusty tomato knife here and just kind of cut it into quarters. Toss it in this little bowl here. Great. So I got some basil. This basil will be used in a couple different ways. We just want to add that kind of extra herbaceous kind of flavor. We're going to toss our quinoa with the basil, but we're also going to season our tomato mixture here with that as well. So we're just going to chiffonade it. So roll it over like so and just cut it as thin as you can. Some for the tomatoes, some for the quinoa. So the tomatoes, we're just going to add a little bit of olive oil, just a pinch of salt, a little pepper, and I happen to have a little bit of cheese left over from my Caesar salad recipe. And we're just going to toss those and have them on hand for when we can build our bowl. All right, so we got our grilled corn, and we're just going to cut it right in half like this, and then we're just going to work along the core and try to keep these in. Now, sometimes they stay together, sometimes they don't. All right, quinoa is just so good for you guys. So it's an ancient grain. It's been farmed all across the globe for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. It's really high in antioxidants. It's really high in protein. And we've really dressed it up with a little bit of cooking it in broth, and we finished it off with some fresh basil. So we're just gonna build our bowl, and we're just gonna use all the components that we had hanging around here. And we'll see how it goes here. So I made a lot of quinoa, and this will really help set you up throughout the entire course of the week. Great, some quinoa goes there. We're gonna drop down some of our vegetables. All right, we got some pickled vegetables. It's gonna go there. This is our mixture of tomatoes. There's just so much going on in this. It's just every bite's gonna be so different. It's gonna be really, really nice. We got a little bit of corn. Oh yeah. Some edamame beans. And our boiled egg. And last but not least is our house-made green goddess dressing. I transferred it into a squirt bottle, and it's fighting with me. There we go. All over the place. Perfect. All right, it kind of fought with me a little bit, got a little stuck, but that's all right. The last thing we're gonna do is just a little bit of crushed nuts, and these are some walnuts. And this is gonna be one super tasty, protein-packed quinoa bowl. So from my kitchen to yours, guys, bon appetit.